Awaken Light Audio. Awaken your mind. Ignite your light.
Never tell people what you do. Master the art of quiet discipline. What if the reason you haven't made the progress you crave is because you've been telling too many people what you're about to do? What if the most powerful thing you can do for your dreams is to protect them in silence? And what if success doesn't need an audience? It needs your undivided attention, your quiet consistency, your unshakable focus. In a world obsessed with self-promotion, where everyone is sharing their goals, declaring their next big move, and announcing their vision before it even takes shape, silence has become radical. But silence is not weakness. Silence is strength. It's where roots grow before branches bloom. It's where discipline is built before recognition arrives. It's where momentum is protected, not paraded. You see, the more we talk about what we're going to do, the more energy we leak from actually doing it. It's a strange paradox, but a real one. Sometimes, speaking your plans out loud too soon can trick your brain into thinking you've already accomplished something. And that illusion kills the hunger to move forward. So, what if you stopped announcing and started executing? What if you built in silence, moved in purpose, and let your results speak for themselves? This is not about secrecy. It's about strategy. It's about reclaiming your focus, guarding your fire, and developing the kind of quiet discipline that turns vision into victory. Without the need for applause, in this journey, you'll explore a new kind of power. The power of staying still while others rush to prove it. The power of momentum protected from distraction. The power of letting action speak. And silence lead, because when you stop telling the world what you're doing, you finally have the space to actually do it. So take a breath, let go of the pressure to impress, let go of the addiction to announcement. Let go of the belief that you need to be seen to be valid, and step into a deeper truth. The less you speak, the more you see. The less you show. The more you grow, the less you explain, the more you accomplish. Now, as we begin this journey together, I invite you to shift gears. This is not a race. This is not about shouting your worth. This is about building. From the inside out, brick by brick, word by word, without an audience, and without apology. And when you're ready, we'll begin not with noise, but with understanding. Chapter 1. Why Success Loves Silence. Success grows best in the quiet, not because it's hiding, but because it's still becoming. In a world that rewards loud voices, public declarations, and constant visibility, silence feels almost unnatural. We're conditioned to believe that if we're not broadcasting our goals, we're falling behind. If we're not putting ourselves out there, we must not be serious. But the truth is often the opposite. The most powerful growth, the kind that lasts, doesn't happen in the spotlight. It happens in the shadows. It happens when no one is watching. Success doesn't need to be loud. In fact, it prefers to be quiet. Think about how nature works. A tree doesn't announce itself before it breaks. Through the ground, it grows silently, roots deepening far beneath the surface, until one day it emerges strong, steady, undeniable. Success is the same. It begins with stillness, with discipline, with a personal commitment to become something more. Long before the world notices, why silence feels counterintuitive. It's tempting to share what we're working on, to talk about the book right? The business we'll start, the goals we're chasing. Why? Because it feels good. We crave affirmation, the head nods, the applause, that sounds amazing. But here's the paradox. The more we talk about our intentions, the less urgency we feel to follow through. Psychologists call this the social reality bias. Your brain rewards you for saying something as if you've already done something. It gives you a dopamine hit, but without action. It fades fast, and worse, it makes you comfortable. And comfort is the enemy of momentum. The wisdom of staying quiet. There's a quiet kind of power in doing the work without needing to announce it. No pressure, no expectations, just focused, deliberate effort. Day after day, when you stop talking about it, you free up energy to be about it. You stay connected to your own why, not the version curated for the crowd. You protect your ideas in their most fragile form, like seeds not yet ready to face the elements. And when the time comes, when your actions are undeniable, you won't need to explain anything. You'll simply arrive, not because you said you would, but because you actually did the quiet reflection. Take a moment today and ask yourself, what have I been announcing more than building? Where am I leaking energy by explaining instead of executing? What could I accomplish if I stopped talking and just did the work? Whisper this to yourself. I don't need to prove anything. I, Dan T, need the world to validate my vision. I choose to grow in silence and let the results make the noise. You've just touched the first truth, that success is sacred and silence is its sanctuary. But there's another trap waiting ahead, the illusion of talking. The subtle way, sharing too, much tricks your mind and kills your momentum. Chapter 2. The illusion of talking. Why sharing too soon kills momentum. Telling people what you plan to do can feel like progress, but often it's the very thing that stops you from doing it. There's a strange comfort in speaking your goals out loud. It feels productive, empowering almost, satisfying. But beware, because that feeling is often a trap in disguise. When you share your plans too early, you create a false sense of accomplishment. Your brain gets rewarded. People respond with encouragement, admiration, or even envy. You feel seen, and that temporarily fills the space that action was meant to occupy. But here's the problem. Just spend your momentum on words. The science behind the illusion studies in psychology, including work by researcher Peter Gallwitzer, show that when we declare our goals to others too soon, we trick ourselves into thinking we're already on the path. That mental reward dulls the urgency to act, and before long, the energy once meant for action gets drained by storytelling. You start talking more than building, explaining more than doing, defending more than becoming, and slowly, without realizing it, your dream becomes more of a public performance than a personal transformation. Why talking too soon builds false walls. Imagine a builder who shows you blueprints every day but never lifts a brick. Eventually, you stop believing them. Now imagine that builder is you, talking about your goals instead of constructing them. It's not just about how others perceive you, it's about how you begin to doubt yourself. Each time you speak without action, your words lose weight. Your identity becomes hollow. Your goals lose their edge. And soon, your confidence quietly erodes. The alternative, build in silence, speak through results. You don't need to announce your transformation, you need to embody it. Let people wonder what you're up to. Let them feel the shift in your presence. Let your consistency create curiosity. And when they finally ask, you won't have to say much. Your results will already be the answer. Daily practice. The silent start. Before you talk about any new goal or decision, ask yourself, have I taken consistent action on this for at least 7 days? Am I sharing for accountability or for applause? Would my time be better spent doing instead of telling? If the answer is unclear, choose silence, not as withdrawal, but as devotion to what matters. Tell yourself, talking is easy, transformation is earned. I will protect my momentum, even from my own ego. You've seen how easily the mind is tricked by talk. Now, let's go deeper. To the energy cost of all that speaking. What happens when your words drain your power and your vision gets lost in the noise? Chapter 3. Words versus work. The energy leak no one talks about. Every time you talk about what you're going to do, you're spending energy that could have built something real. Energy is not infinite, especially when it comes to discipline, focus, and creative momentum. And yet, most people waste their most powerful energy source, not through laziness, but through premature exposure. Every time you talk about what you'll do, how big your idea is, how serious you are at this time, you create leaks. Leaks in focus, leaks in emotion, leaks in self-trust. Because words without work, they empty you, not empower you, the brain's energy budget. Your brain is like a CEO managing a budget. It only has so much fuel, cognitive energy, each day, every decision. Every interaction, every thought, every conversation costs something. So, when you talk about your goals repeatedly, especially before taking action, you're spending energy on impression, not impact. You're using fuel to feel productive, but not to become productive. And over time, that energy depletion leaves you burned out, scattered, and unmotivated. The talk-do loop. I worked with a creative entrepreneur once who had brilliant ideas, but never finished anything. Every time she felt inspired, she'd share it on social media. Big things coming. New project dropping soon. I'm working on something amazing. And every time she did that, she felt excited. For a moment, but when it came time to sit down and build, she had nothing left because her excitement had already been spent. Not through doing. Through declaring, we created a new rule for her. No public talk until private action. Within weeks, she stopped leaking energy and started channeling it. And for the first time in years, she finished Hold the Fire. Think of your goal like a flame when it's new. It's fragile, and the more you expose it to wind, even in the form of compliments, praise, and interest, the more likely it is to die out. So hold the fire. Protect it, tend to it in private. Let it grow strong before you ever show it to the world. Daily practice, the energy audit. At the end of each day, ask yourself, where did I spend energy talking instead of doing? Which conversations drained me without producing progress? Where can I redirect that energy tomorrow into actual work, not words? Then, choose one thing to act on silently the next day. No announcement, just execution. That one shift may change everything. Tell yourself, my energy is sacred. I don't waste it on noise. I build quietly. I move deliberately. I protect my fire. Now that you understand how easily words can rob you of power, it's time to talk about something just as critical. Not everyone deserves to hear your plans. Some people aren't ready for your vision. Others are too quick to doubt, criticize, or misguide in the next chapter. We'll explore the wisdom of selective sharing and how to decide who truly deserves access to your inner world. Chapter 4. Selective sharing. Who deserves to hear your vision? Your vision is sacred. Don't hand it to people who treat it like it's disposable. Not everyone is meant to understand you. Not everyone is qualified to advise you. And certainly, not everyone deserves access to your most important goals. There's a quiet form of wisdom in knowing who to open up to and who to stay silent around. Because every time you share your vision, you're not just offering information, you're offering vulnerability. You're giving someone the power to support, challenge, or unintentionally sabotage what hasn't even had time to form yet. Not all feedback is insight. One of the biggest traps people fall into, mistaking proximity for permission. Just because someone is close to you, family, friend, partner, doesn't mean they're the right person to hear your vision. They may love you deeply, but not understand your path. Or worse, their fears might become your hesitation. Sometimes, when you share a new idea, people don't respond with vision, they respond with their own limitations. That sounds risky. Why would you want to do that? You should probably wait. And if you're not grounded yet, those words take root and slowly. Doubt grows where confidence was meant to flourish. Silence is protection, not isolation. Let's be clear, this is not about secrecy, it's about discernment. You're not cutting people out, you're cultivating an environment where your vision can breathe, where you can experiment, fail, and learn without unsolicited judgment or the pressure to justify. Your every move. It's okay to grow privately, to build in a space where your dream is held, not picked apart, where it can be nurtured. Not prematurely evaluated, because once something is strong enough to stand on its own, it won't need defense. It will speak for itself. Daily practice, the inner circle filter. Ask yourself, who consistently lifts my energy? Who drains it? Who sees the best in me, even when I'm unsure? Who gives thoughtful feedback versus reactive opinion? Then decide who gets to hear your raw ideas. Who gets to see the process? Who only sees the final result? Make it intentional, because boundaries protect the becoming. Tell yourself, my vision is still becoming. I don't owe anyone access to what I'm not ready to share. I will guard my dreams until they're strong enough to walk on their own. You've now learned how to guard your energy and your inner circle. But there's another layer to protect momentum, because even with clarity and discipline, one careless distraction, one wrong conversation, can knock you off track in the next chapter. We'll explore how to protect your sacred rhythm of progress from the noise that wants to steal it. Chapter 5. Momentum is sacred. Protect it from noise. Distraction doesn't always look like chaos. Sometimes it sounds like curiosity. Momentum is one of the most fragile and most underestimated assets on the path to success. It doesn't arrive all at once. It builds quietly, gradually, day by day, until suddenly you're flowing, you're focused. Ideas are connecting, habits feel natural. You're in motion, aligned, committed, alive. But here's the thing, momentum is sacred, and it's shockingly easy to lose. All it takes is one interruption, a doubtful conversation, an unexpected opinion, a well-meaning suggestion that derails your original vision, and suddenly you're second-guessing, you're reevaluating, you're disconnected from the energy you worked so hard to build. Distraction comes disguised. Most people think of distractions as obvious: social media, noise, clutter, chaos. But the most dangerous distractions are subtle. They come dressed as just sharing an update, getting quick feedback, letting people know what you're working on. And while none of those are wrong, if done at the wrong time, they fracture your focus. They open the door for opinions you didn't ask for. They expose your fragile progress to unnecessary scrutiny. They pull you out of flow and into performance. Honor the flow. When you enter a phase of aligned effort where your thoughts, habits, and energy click into motion, protect that space like your life depends on it, because in a way, it does. That momentum is not just productivity, it's identity in motion. It's you showing up consistently as the version of yourself you've been working to become. Interrupt that too often, and you start to erode trust with yourself. Daily practice, the momentum guardrail. Each morning ask, what's working right now that I don't want to interrupt? Where am I most focused, most creative, most alive? What noise do I need to mute to keep this flow intact? Then take action. Silence, unnecessary conversations, delay. Updates and status posts. Postpone opinions until after execution. You don't owe anyone real-time access to your evolution. Let your momentum mature in peace. Tell yourself, I protect what moves me forward. I honor my rhythm. My progress doesn't need to be broadcast. It needs to be guarded. You've now learned to guard your progress like a sacred fire. But what happens when the results begin to show? When your work becomes undeniable? You still don't need to talk, because in the next chapter, you'll discover the true power of letting. Results speak louder than words, and why that is the most powerful statement of all. Chapter 6. Let results speak louder than words. You don't need to announce power. True power reveals itself. There's a certain kind of quiet confidence that only results can give you. Not loud, not boastful, not forced, but undeniable. You've done the work, truly, consistently, intentionally. You won't need to tell anyone what you've been up to. They'll feel it. They'll see it. They'll respond to it without you saying a word. Silence builds credibility. In a world overflowing with noise, everyone's promising, everyone's declaring, everyone's on the verge of something big. But when you're one of the few who actually delivers, your silence becomes magnetic. You don't need marketing. You don't need validation. You don't need to explain your consistency. Becomes your resume. Your actions become your language. Your results become your introduction. And the best part, you gain respect without asking for it. The power of evidence over explanation. I once worked with a man who built a multi-six-figure business without ever talking about it on social media. No announcements, no flashy graphics, no big reveal. Posts, he just did the work, quietly, daily, while others were talking. He was building, and when the time came, when the momentum was undeniable, people started asking, "How did you do it? Where did this come from? Why didn't you tell anyone?" His answer was simple. I was too busy becoming the person who could handle it. That's the difference. He wasn't building for applause. He was building for a capacity daily practice. The result reminder, instead of asking, "Who can I impress today?" ask, "What can I quietly complete today that moves me closer to undeniable results?" Focus on finishing instead of announcing, delivering instead of performing, becoming instead of convincing. Each day you choose. Silence over spectacle. Another brick to the structure you're quietly building. And when that structure stands tall, it will need no introduction. Tell yourself, I don't need to be seen to be real. I don't need to be heard to be powerful. I let my work speak. And my silence grows stronger. By now, you're starting to feel the power of restraint, the beauty of working beneath the radar. But there's one more danger to silence, the premature exposure to criticism. In the next chapter, you'll learn how to avoid letting other people's fears, doubts, and projections derail your still-forming vision. Chapter 7. Don't invite criticism before you're ready. Not every opinion is insight, and not every voice deserves a seat at the table of your becoming. Criticism can be valuable, but only when you're strong enough to carry it. Only when your vision has enough roots to withstand the storm. Only when your identity is no longer fragile and easily shaken. Most people make a tragic mistake. They share their dreams too early, and then collapse under the weight of someone else's doubt. It doesn't matter how brilliant your idea is, how passionate your heart feels, if you let it be exposed too soon. You give it over to people who might crush it before it ever has the chance. To breathe, the psychology of early doubt. The human brain is wired for survival, not risk. When you share a bold idea, especially with people who love you, they may instinctively try to protect you, not because they're mean, not because they doubt you, but because they can't imagine that path for themselves. Their warnings are really their own fears. Their resistance is their own limitation. But if you haven't solidified your belief yet, you might mistake their fear for your truth. And that's how most dreams die, not from failure, but from external doubt absorbed too soon. The discipline of emotional timing. I once knew a writer who had a beautiful, soul-stirring book idea. She shared it with a friend too early. The friend, with good intentions, said, "That's been done. Before, you should write something more marketable." That one comment, it silenced her for 2 years. Not because it was true, but because she wasn't ready to defend her dream. When she finally did write the book, it became her most meaningful work. The difference. She waited to share it until her belief was stronger than their opinion. Daily practice. The readiness check, double quotes, before sharing your idea. Ask, do I truly believe in this yet? Or am I hoping others will validate it for me? If they criticize me, can I stay grounded, or will I shrink? Is this idea ready for feedback, or still needing protection? If you're not ready, protect it. Grow it in silence. Let it take root before it's exposed to wind, because once your idea becomes strong enough, no opinion can uproot it. Tell yourself, I am not here to defend my dream. I am here to build it, and I decide when it's ready to be seen. You've now seen how dangerous it is to open yourself to early doubt, but silence isn't just a strategy. It's also a sanctuary for learning. In the next chapter, we'll explore the beauty of growing, failing, and evolving quietly, without judgment, without performance, without pressure. Chapter 8. Learn in private. Grow in silence. Win in public. Your greatness doesn't need to be proven in real time. It needs to be cultivated in silence until it becomes undeniable. In the age of digital visibility, there's a strange pressure to perform your progress, to show every step, to post every pivot, to announce every aha moment, like you're narrating your evolution to an invisible crowd. But here's the liberating truth. You don't need to grow in public. You have full permission to evolve privately. You're allowed to be a beginner without explaining yourself. You're allowed to fail without turning it into content. You're allowed to figure things out quietly, the freedom to get it wrong. Growth is messy. It's full of wrong turns, self-doubt, and recalibration. You add pressure that doesn't belong. You start filtering your process through other people's opinions. You stop taking creative risks because you're afraid of looking uncertain. And instead of growing, you start curating. You trade progress for performance. But in silence, you're free. Free to change your mind, free to try and fail, free to find your own way, without a panel of spectators. Silence as the learning ground. I once knew a man who spent a full year learning a new skill, without telling a soul. No social media posts. No day one announcements, no updates. He studied, practiced, failed, restarted, and when he finally emerged, he didn't just know the skill. He embodied it. People said, "Where did this come from?" His answer, "While you were watching others, I was building quietly." That's what private growth gives you. Unshakable confidence. Not because others approved, but because you've lived it deeply, fully, and uninterrupted. Daily practice. The invisible reps. Ask yourself each evening, what did I learn today that no one else saw? Where did I grow, even if no one applauded? What silent step moved me forward? You show up in public with quiet authority, not arrogance, not because you told the world, so my results can speak with clarity. You're now operating from a place of deep inner ownership. But one final challenge remains: doing the work when no one is watching and no one is clapping. In the next chapter, you'll learn to master quiet discipline, the habit that separates those who wish from those who win. Chapter 9. Quiet discipline. Doing the work when no one is watching. Real power isn't built in the spotlight. It's forged in the moments when no one's looking, and you still show up. Discipline is easy when people are watching, when there's accountability. When applause is waiting, when the outcome feels close. But the discipline that changes your life, it's the one that happens in the dark, when you feel invisible, when progress feels slow, when nobody notices. But you do it anyway. That's quiet discipline, and it's one of the rarest forms of strength you'll ever develop. The sacredness of repetition. Most people chase novelty. They want the next tactic, the next idea, the next shortcut. But discipline isn't about what's new. It's about what's necessary, done over and over again. And it's in those quiet repetitions, the ones that seem small, mundane, even boring, that greatness is cultivated. Up early when no alarm forces you, writing when no one is reading, training when no one is clapping, showing up when you feel tired, uninspired, or unseen. These are the acts that build identity, and once it becomes identity, it becomes unstoppable. Identity over discipline. People think they have a motivation problem. They don't. They have an identity conflict. They say, I want to be disciplined, but still identify as someone who struggles to be consistent. But when you shift your story from "I'm trying to be disciplined" to "I am the kind of person who shows up no matter what," everything changes. You stop negotiating with yourself. You stop waiting for perfect conditions. You stop needing someone to notice. You do the work because it's who you are now. Keep the promises you make to yourself. Quiet discipline is not just about habits. It's about self-respect. Every time you keep a small promise to yourself, you build internal trust. Every time you break that promise, you weaken the bond between who you are and who you want to be. So treat your commitments like they matter, because they do, not to the world, to you. Daily practice, the non-negotiable. One each day, define one action that you'll complete no matter what. Small or big, doesn't matter. It could be 30 minutes of deep work, 10 pages read, a workout, meditation. Saying no to a distraction, then do it, quietly. No need to post, no need to report, just complete it. For you, and repeat that process tomorrow, and the next day, and the next. This is how inner mastery is built, one quiet victory at a time. Tell yourself, I am not waiting for permission, praise, or proof. I show up. Not because the world demands it, but because I demand it of myself. You've now come full circle. You understand the value of restraint, the wisdom of silence, and the power of quiet repetition. Now, in our final chapter, we'll seal the message, how to become someone so undeniable thought you'll never need to tell anyone what you do again. Chapter 10. Become undeniable. When your work can't be ignored, you don't need to explain yourself when your presence speaks louder than your words. There comes a point in your journey when you no longer chase validation. You no longer feel the need to explain what you're building. You no longer seek applause for every milestone. Why? Because you've become undeniable. You've done the work. You've shown up in silence. You've kept promises in private. You've made progress when no one noticed. Until it became impossible not to notice, that's when you shift from trying to convince to simply being seen. And that kind of recognition, it's not forced, it's not manufactured, it's earned. Real power doesn't beg, it radiates. Think of the people who move you most, the ones who speak little, but say so much, the ones who never flaunt their success, but exude quiet authority, the ones who walk into a room and without saying a word, you feel them. They didn't get there by shouting, they got there by becoming . And so can you, not by marketing your potential, but by proving it to yourself first, not by asking others to believe in you, but by becoming so consistent, so committed, so clear, that belief becomes a byproduct of your presence. Let the world catch up to you. You don't need to rush to be seen. You need to be so immersed in the process that, by the time the world notices, you've already become the person worthy of that attention. When you're undeniable, you don't fight for attention. You don't react to criticism. You don't cling to motivation. You don't chase moments. You create them. Because you've built a foundation strong enough to carry the weight of success without collapsing. Final practice. The no more explaining rule. From today on, choose this mantra. I will no longer explain what I'm building. I will simply build it and let the results speak for me. Instead of sharing your intentions, share your work. Instead of posting updates, build consistency. Instead of chasing applause, chase alignment. And when the time comes, you won't need to introduce yourself. Your presence will do it for you. Tell yourself, I've said enough. I've planned enough. I've waited enough. Now I become quietly, fully, undeniably. Let silence be your strength. You've made it to the end of this journey. But in truth, this is only the beginning of a new way of operating, from depth, not display, from consistency, not performance, from identity, not image. You've learned to protect your vision in its infancy, to guard your energy from distractions, to grow without performance, to act without announcement, and to show up quietly, steadily, until you become unmistakable. This is the path of quiet discipline. No noise, no need to prove, just deliberate action. And the kind of inner strength that doesn't shout, it shifts rooms. So from this moment on, don't tell them what you're going to do. Don't ask for their approval. Don't defend your becoming. Just build. And when it's time, let your work speak. Let your silence echo. Let your presence lead. Because the loudest people are rarely the most powerful, and the most powerful rarely need to say a word.
Thank you for spending this moment with Awaken Light Audio. If something today touched your heart or opened your mind, don't keep it to yourself. Share your thoughts in the comments. What spoke to you most? Tell us about your journey, your questions. Send it their way, because light grows when it's shared. Until next time, stay present, stay awakened, and keep becoming who you're meant to be.